Hey guys, welcome to Embodynourish, and today I'll be showing you 3 of my all-time favorite vegan curries. I'm so excited to show you these recipes because they're a staple in my household and we love them so much because they're healthy, so easy to make, and they're absolutely delicious. They're healthy in the sense that you can make them as whole foods as you want to. They're a great dish to transition to a whole foods plant-based diet. On the other hand, if you're feeling a bit more indulgent, you can season it as much as you want to. Before we begin though, don't forget to comment, like and subscribe to my channel. It will really mean a lot. Thank you guys, and let's get started. I am so excited to show you guys this vegan butter chicken recipe because butter chicken was one of my favorite dishes before going plant-based, so I missed it very much. Now this vegan butter chicken is honestly even more delicious and it's pretty healthy too. We'll be using tofu to substitute for the chicken, and it's a great source of protein in our plant-based diet. Drain a packet of regular firm or extra firm tofu and let's press out all of the excess water. If you have a tofu press, then go for it, but if you don't, you can also leave something heavy on top like a cast iron for about 20 minutes. Cut up the tofu into 2 or 3 centimeter cubes and transfer them into a large mixing bowl. We're going to marinate the tofu with 1 teaspoon of curry powder, 2 teaspoons of garam masala, 2 teaspoons of turmeric powder, 1 teaspoon of cumin, and 1/4 teaspoon of cayenne pepper. You can adjust the cayenne pepper according to how much spiciness you want in there. Squeeze half a lemon over the top and add in some freshly minced garlic, 3 cloves to be exact, and don't forget 1 tablespoon of freshly grated ginger. You can also use 1 teaspoon of ginger powder too. Using your hands or a spatula, mix the spices and coat it all over the tofu. I do like to use my hands so there's less breakage of the tofu and I can coat it more easily. And then add in 1 cup of coconut yogurt or any other dairy-free yogurt and toss to coat. It does get a little bit messy with your hands, but that's all part of the fun, right? Cover the bowl and pop it in the fridge to let all of the spices and flavours soak into the tofu for about half an hour or so. Ideally, for the best results, marinate it overnight. But I have made it many times on the go with letting it sit for around 10 to 20 minutes and it's still delicious. And when it's done marinating, scoop the tofu into a baking tray lined with some baking paper and pop it into a preheated oven at 180 degrees Celsius. Bake for 20 minutes or until golden. We'll be cooking the tofu again later on the stove along with the sauce, so the tofu shouldn't be overbaked. Alright, now moving on to my favourite part. Since butter chicken is one of my favourite dishes, I like to indulge a bit more when I'm cooking, so I'm melting up 2 tablespoons of vegan butter over medium-high heat to make sure it's super buttery. You can though use olive oil instead, or if you're going whole foods, splash in a little bit of vegetable stock or water. Add in 1 teaspoon of curry powder and toast it for a few minutes until it's aromatic. Pour in 1 cup of tomato passata and let it cook for a few minutes, stirring frequently. And then add in 3/4 cup of coconut milk. I had leftover coconut cream, so I used that instead in this video, but usually I do prefer coconut milk. Okay, this next step is optional, but add in 1 to 2 tablespoons of maple syrup. I think I'm so used to my local Indian takeaway shop's butter chicken that had a sweetness in there that I couldn't replicate without adding some sort of sweetener like maple syrup. If you're going whole foods though, feel free to leave this out. Season with some salt, although I do leave the salt out sometimes, and stir frequently. You'll know when the tofu is ready because you'll smell it before the timer goes off. It should be golden, soft, and the saucy marinade should look like it's melted into the tofu. While it's still hot, transfer the baked tofu into the buttered chicken, making sure to scoop up all that delicious marinade sauce up. Give it a stir to mix all the sauces together. It looks so beautiful, so lusciously creamy. You can tell that it smells really good in here because the dogs are beside me and they're obviously expecting to be my personal taste testers. Being the sneaky little buggers they are, they do pick up anything that I drop on the floor. If you're keen to see more of my dogs, feel free to head over to my Instagram page at embodynourish. Even though it's still plant-based and holistic living focused, the dogs are queens of my Instagram stories. The last part is now just simmering the curry over low to medium heat to really intensify the flavour and bring out that beautiful sauce. And there you go guys, this vegan butter chicken recipe is best eaten straight after cooking it. Invite a friend or 2 over and serve it with freshly cooked basmati rice and some naan. For a healthy alternative, I do like to eat it with brown rice as well. For presentation and to make the dish look more enticing, you can sprinkle over some fresh coriander. It's a great recipe to cook up for your friends and family and have the leftovers for yourself the next day. The next curry dish we have today is an eggplant or brinjal, please correct me if I'm wrong, curry that's so beautiful and intense in flavour. Roasted eggplants are simmered in a strong and delicious blend of Indian spices. Cut 2 medium eggplants in half and then slice them again to create semicircles. Personally, I've never salted my eggplants beforehand and I've never had a problem with them being bitter, but you can do a salt bath before if you wish. Spread the eggplants out onto a baking sheet lined with baking paper and then drizzle some olive oil over the top. You can definitely roast them without any oil if you're going whole foods. Sprinkle half a teaspoon of cumin all over the top and then season with some salt and black pepper. And then pop the tray in and bake the eggplants in a preheated oven at 200 degrees Celsius for 25 to 30 minutes. Meanwhile, slice the green chilli in half and then take out the seeds for a milder flavour, or you can keep them in if you don't mind your spice. Dice up 1 brown onion as well. In a skillet over medium heat, drizzle some olive oil over the top and then add in 1 teaspoon of black mustard seed and some dried curry leaves. Saute for a few minutes until the seeds start popping. If you're going whole foods, you can use water or veggie stock instead of the oil, and since this is a curry, it won't affect the texture of the dish. Add in the diced onions and cook until it's golden brown and fragrant. It's gonna smell so delicious. And then add in the green chili, dried coriander, a 1/4 teaspoon of ground clove, 4 teaspoons of ground cumin, a 1/4 teaspoon of cayenne pepper and more to taste, a 1/4 teaspoon of cardamom powder, a 1/4 teaspoon of turmeric, and stir with the spatula. Toasting the spices is a great way to bring out all its flavour and to make it more intense. As you're toasting, if the spices start to stick, splash in a little bit of water. When it starts to get real steamy, add in 3 tablespoons of tomato passata, 1 tablespoon of grated ginger, and 3 minced garlic cloves. And then season with some salt and black pepper. In my cooking, I try not to add too much salt, or if any, because I feel like I eat enough of it at restaurants and in my snacks like chips. This is just my way of eating a more balanced diet, and I found that substituting salt with spices is a great alternative, so it really depends on your tastes and preferences. Add in 1.5 cups of water and then stir. When the eggplants are done, take out the baking tray and then transfer the eggplants into the curry sauce. Try to be gentle with the eggplants so they maintain their shape. Give it a gentle stir to immerse the eggplants into that beautiful curry sauce. Turn down the heat to low and simmer for around 20 to 30 minutes. You can add more water or simmer for longer depending if you want a more saucy or a drier curry. Under the moisture and the heat, the flesh of the baked eggplants will collapse into the beautiful sauce, turning into a delicious curry. As always, serve the curry with fluffy basmati rice and some naan. I do prefer to eat this with rice because the rice offsets the strong flavours of the curry well. Garnish with some vegan yogurt, fresh coriander and some lemon slices. So everyone, if you're looking for a less creamy curry with a delicious and powerful flavouring, then this is your best choice. Plus, it's actually quite healthy, very whole foods and fully plant powered. And for the last curry, we have a vegan spinach paneer. It's everything you could ask for in a curry. Delicious, flavoursome and so healthy. I'm excited about this one because we'll be using sautéed marinated tofu to mimic traditional paneer, and it's going to be immersed in the most beautiful rich green curry. Using regular firm tofu, drain, press and cut it into 2 cm cubes. Transfer it to a large mixing bowl. Add in 2 teaspoons of curry powder, a 1/4 teaspoon of sea salt, 3 teaspoons of nutritional yeast, and don't forget to squeeze in half a lemon. You can season it with some salt and adjust the taste by adding in more or less of the ingredients. The nutritional yeast is key to making it cheesy. Toss the tofu to combine everything together. Again, you can use a wooden spoon or spatula, but I do like using my hand so it doesn't break. You can also marinate the tofu paneer for a while, but you can also just start cooking it with it as well, which is what I usually do. There are 2 ways you can cook the tofu paneer: baking it in the oven for a slightly crispier texture or sauteing it with some oil. If you're using the oven, spread the tofu out on a baking tray and bake it at 180 degrees Celsius over 30 or 40 minutes. But personally, I do prefer sauteing it as the tofu softens and the texture is more like traditional paneer. I can also taste the cheesiness from the nutritional yeast a lot more. I usually saute over medium heat for 10 to 15 minutes, stirring frequently. Now we're going to move into the main ingredient. Heat up a pot of water and blanch 4 to 5 cups of spinach in it for a few minutes until the leaves turn bright green and then drain. Quickly rinse it under cold water so it stops cooking. Set the spinach aside and then dice 1 brown onion and 1 green chilli, taking out the seeds if you need to. In a pot over medium-high heat, drizzle some olive oil over the top and saute the onions. Like the eggplant curry before, this recipe is perfect to go whole foods for, so instead of oil you can use veggie stock or water to saute the onions. When the onions are translucent and so fragrant, add in the green chilli. Add in 1 teaspoon of turmeric, 2 teaspoons of garam masala, 1 teaspoon of cardamom powder, and stir. If the spices start to stick to the bottom of the pan, splash some water in to release them. And then add in 1 teaspoon of ground cumin, some minced garlic and ginger, and 1 can of diced tomatoes or tomato passata. And then add in 1 teaspoon of dry fenugreek leaves. It's going to smell so gorgeous with all the spices mixed together. Okay, so this is where you can play around with the texture a bit. I used diced tomatoes, but I realised I wanted a smoother curry, so I should have used tomato passata instead. I ended up transferring the curry into the food processor to combine the sauce with the blanched spinach. You can definitely just puree the blanched spinach and then add it into the sauce in the pot. The result should just come out the same. So I transferred the curry back into the pot over medium-high heat and seasoned with salt and pepper. Add in the tofu paneer and give it a stir to immerse it in that rich, thick green curry. And once it's heated up, you're done. This is a vegan palak paneer curry. You can leave it as it is, but when you're serving it, you can add a dollop of coconut yogurt on top and then swirl it in. This brightens up the curry both in taste and aesthetics. I'm not gonna lie, this really challenged my presentation skills. I had to do it a few times until I got the swirls right, and even then, I feel like you guys can do better. Again, eat with naan or rice, and it's honestly a very beautiful curry both in taste and aesthetics. It's definitely a curry to try if you're looking for something different and satisfying. Thank you so much guys for watching this video. I hope that you liked it. If you want to support me further, then don't forget to comment, like and subscribe to my channel. It will help the community grow and it really does motivate me to create more videos. I also love reading your comments, so keep them coming. Thank you again so much guys, and I'll see you in the next video.